minutes because I got some other stuff I gotta do. So, boxing is starting to heat up. We had the press conference announcing Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. Tickets are on sale. So are is low as $107 if you check various different websites. So the tickets are relatively cheap. Then you have some fight announcements coming up. I guess Showtime allegedly exposed Demetrius Andrade, saying that he turned down a multi-fight deal. Keep in mind, he only supposed to have one fight left with, the zone, and then he can move on. Then, Blair the Flair Cobb has some interesting comments about Errol Spence, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but he's entitled to his opinion. Um, so it's a lot of different things going on in boxing. You hearing about Errol Spence, he's being uh basically they saying they don't like the way he looked, but you've been hearing he been doing his thing in sparring. But to a certain degree, I don't really put too much into sparring because, like I say, sparring is sparring. Like I said, I've said this before. Depending on what the moment is in a situation, we'll use sparring as you know what we would call something for a good video and title the video "This happens in sparring." Keep in mind, they're saying Errol Spence is stopping people in sparring. Well, I mean, it is what it is because Tyson Fury he got stopped in sparring, in his leading up to his third fight with Deontay Wilder. They saying that Floyd Mayweather got stopped in sparring by, Zab Zuda. You didn't heard a lot of different things. So, you heard Tiafimo was knocked out in sparring. Rumor has it that a boxer that has a fight coming up, an extremely tall fighter who shouldn't even be fighting at the weight class he's fighting at, allegedly got knocked out in sparring. So, it happens. So, to a certain degree, I ain't gonna put too much stock into it. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's fun to make videos talking about that, especially if you have a ulterior motive. So, but that's what that really is all about. So, but nevertheless, you got the card coming up next week with top rank Edgar Berlanga versus Steve Rolls. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he's a former truck driver that Triple G fought. So he's fighting Berlanga as Berlanga, basically is creeping on a come up, trying to come up, trying to establish himself as a true threat in boxing. And people have questioned Berlanga because of, his competition. So I mean, it is what it is. Then on the card you have Keyshawn Davis, if I'm not mistaken, and then Xander Zaya is gonna fight. So it's gonna be a solid card. I was supposed to go to that fight, but uh I won't be there. You know, I won't be there. But it'll be a solid fight. It'll be broadcast via ESPN. But let me I said I wasn't gonna go there. I really don't want to kind of go there, but because I've been accused of being one-sided, which that ain't the case. I'm just telling shit from my perspective. But then you always have people that think they can try to tell you how to talk about a certain fighter they like, on their channel, which, like I said before, nobody runs my channel and nobody will tell me how to talk and nobody will tell me what fighter to cheerlead for or not to cheerlead for. And that's just basically the bottom line. Um, okay. Blair the Flair Cobb said something interesting about Errol Spence. He basically said he was a coward. Basically said that this is his karma for not fighting Terrence Crawford. He basically said that he was ducking Terrence Crawford. And he's saying this is why some of the stuff has happened to him. I don't know if I'm gonna go that far, but I'll say this much. As far as the Terrence Crawford go, uh, Terrence Crawford fight, let's hope it happens. And as far as recent comments about Bob Arum saying that he killed the fight and all that kind of stuff, well, here's some food for thought. We all know how this works. We all know how certain fanatics, one particular fighter will make whatever somebody saying the gospel, especially if it's, you know, if it's not defeating the purpose, will winning their the purpose of an argument that they're trying to make. It's funny, like I said before, we didn't been through this for the last 4 years. It's funny when Terrence Crawford was on Top Rank and everybody was saying the worst of the worst and saying that Bob Arum was this and Bob Arum was that, and you couldn't believe nothing that Bob Arum says. But then as soon as Bob Arum says, well, he killed the fight, now all of a sudden they believe Bob Arum because that fits their narrative of trying to make it seem like, well, the person who's, holding up this fight is not Errol Spence. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame nobody. I'm kind of past that. But like I said, I have my idea who's holding up this fight. And that's just the bottom line. And I'm not being no fanboy about it. So when Bob Arum says something that they don't like, then he's lying. But then when he says something like this, see, I told you, but come on, man. The same way Bob Arum said, well, he killed the fight with Errol Spence. Well, the PBC also admitted that they ain't really made Terrence Crawford an offer, and they said that they don't feel like they have the resources or the money to pay Terrence Crawford what he's asking for. But they have $100 million for Canelo, so that should tell you all you need to know. So serious. They got all the money in the world for Canelo, but they somehow they gotta, you know what I'm saying? They gotta look into the PBC piggy bank for Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. So, okay, so what does that say about them? And it was funny how you was hearing all this stuff about how these dudes was doing this, they was doing that, and then um you heard what possibly one particular fighter may be actually making in this fight, and it's like, oh, okay, so somebody was fronting. But I've been saying this for the longest about those PBC cats. They be fronting. They can't do nothing unless, you know what I'm saying, unless Big Al signed off on it. And that's just the bottom line. That's the truth. That came out of somebody's mouth that deal with Al Heyman. Basically they were saying, well, something is going on, but they waiting on Al Heyman. And that's the honest to God truth. I have no reason to lie. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on nobody's payroll. I'm not on the PBC payroll. I'm not on Top Rank's payroll. Like I said before, I've been hearing things for the last 3 years who holding up this fight. But, I'm not going to say no names. I done heard from various different resources. But then the thing is, when you got people pushing the narrative, well, yeah, you've been hearing that for years, but hey, man, they just ignore that, man. How many times Danny Garcia said call Al? Well, they tried to call Al to make the fight. And it's just the truth. What you have here is just you have people that think they can try to bully you and think they can try to, like, man, I can't be bullied by no nigga on the internet. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to say, man. You know, I'm just keeping it 100. After a while, y'all know the truth. Whether people want to try to pretend it don't exist or not, people can sit up here and play these games all they want. You didn't ask people. You didn't heard every excuse in the book about I ain't gonna negotiate through the media, but then you had people trying to negotiate through the media. You had people negotiate. Then you had fanagers. You had these goofball fanagers trying to tell somebody how much money he should take. and they ain't never boxed a day in their life. You know what I'm saying? Some of these dudes can barely walk and chew gum at the same time, but they trying, like, for real, man. I'm just keeping it a buck, man. You know, I'm just keeping it a buck. Oh, I ain't finna negotiate through the media. You didn't heard. I mean, you just didn't heard every excuse in the book. Like I said before, all I could say is after April 16th, after April 16th, I better hear a fight date for you know who versus you know who. If so and so gets past you know who. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear nothing about no fucking Canelo. I don't want to hear nothing about nothing. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing except that this fight gonna take place. The fight that we all been waiting for the last 4 years is gonna take place sometime in October, September, whatever the case may be. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear none of that other excess stuff because, like I say, people are tired of it. You know what I'm saying? So it needs to happen. Needs to happen. And it needs to happen immediately for everybody's sake. But just wanted to get that out there. I'll be back later on.